Live from Dallas and Fort Worth, this is a special presentation of CBS 11 News at 6, COVID and the classroom.
She just didn't want to see anybody on the computer. She just wanted to see them in person. So it was very difficult for her.
Online learning is the safest route, but parents also acknowledge the emotional toll. We look tonight for ways to ward off isolation. Then, the do's and don'ts of creating an at-home classroom. Simple things parents can do now to help achieve remote learning success. And the impact of the pandemic on school marching bands. How one North Texas high school is finding ways to keep the music playing.
We just want to end this on a high note and make this the best season out of all of them.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Doug Dunbar. So great to have you, and thank you for taking time to join us for night number 4 of our week-long series, COVID and the Classroom. All this week at 6, we've been dedicating our time and tackling the issues that come with going back to school in this pandemic, in these crazy times we're in. And one of the big issues that we're hearing about a lot is the emotional struggles that come with online learning especially. It may be necessary right now for so many, but we are finding that some students, for them, just plugging in doesn't necessarily mean that they're making connections. Robbie Owens begins our coverage with a closer look.
For now, learning online, another COVID-created necessity, and yet.
Whenever I ran into so many of the issues with uploading or having to re-upload assignments because our links didn't work.
For Carmen David's family, it was a complete disaster.
So when she's starting to have a lot of breakdowns in the spring with the virtual stuff where she's crying a lot more often.
Her kindergarten daughter longed for routine and in-person connections. So Zoom just didn't cut it.
It just wasn't the same until she refused to do even that. And so she just didn't want to see anybody on the computer. She just wanted to see them in person. So it was very difficult for her.
We are social beings, so we're meant to connect with one another.
Roshini Kumar is a clinical therapist with Children's Health. She says while families craft plans to avoid the coronavirus, it's important to monitor emotional health as well.
If you start to notice, in your child that they're failing to complete assignments or they're not engaging with friends that they formerly had good connections with, that's something to stop and say, hey, what's going on?
Because believe it or not, even teens can get tired of computers.
It's really tough because I really don't like being in the house all day.
Trey Jackson is an incoming freshman in South Oak Cliff's P-Tech Academy. He's pleading with his mom to allow an in-class return.
I can get better teacher instructions, or if I need help, I can get quickly responses instead of typing in the chat box or sharing my screen.
For the kindergarten workbook for language arts.
Meanwhile, Carmen David is so determined that her daughter not be forced online all year,
a calendar,
that they've already bought books to homeschool as a backup.
I really do think they're trying their very best, and we can all just try to be as flexible as we can and help each other.
Now, with COVID creating so much uncertainty, experts say one thing that can help is for families to focus on what they can control. That means creating and sticking to routines in the household. Doug?
And Robbie, when you talk about this, I'm curious, any ideas when you say routine? Do they need to be elaborate in any way, or can we simplify them?
Oh, absolutely simplify. It could be as simple as just having breakfast together, or every night at dinner sharing something good that happened that day, working on a family project, and of course, above all, reminding each other that as long as we stay well, we can get through this. Doug?
All right, Robbie Owens, great way to get things started tonight. Thank you so much. Virus spread, we know, has slowed enough in Tarrant County to meet the health guidelines for opening school campuses officially. The county detailed those key points to schools last week. They include lower case numbers. We're seeing that. Fewer people with symptoms, also a lower percentage of positive testing. However, the public health director told us today that he would still like to see fewer total cases before officially saying that schools should go ahead and let all students on campus. Fort Worth ISD does not plan to reassess their online plan until at least next month.
They have to be home with their kids because they're not at school. I mean, it's detrimental for our entire city.
And the health director said that he was optimistic that after Labor Day, he thinks all conditions to open campuses would be met. Teachers, meanwhile, for the Dallas School District, staged a mobile protest today opposing DISD's plan to offer on-campus school for families who would like to have that. Our Steve Pickett with the story.
A caravan of carloads, Dallas ISD teachers and other employees in a parade of protest.
Please do not put our children in harm's way by placing them in the classroom too soon.
The voices belong to members of the Teacher Association Alliance AFT. Thousands of them oppose the Dallas School District's plan offering on-campus school as an option for families starting September 8th.
Once a student or a class gets infected, they're going to take that back home.
We're not going to ask the parents to send the kids back if we can't assure that they're going to be safe.
Dallas ISD Superintendent Michael Inaosa offering a re-entry plan that highlights safety measures for children and teachers, saying the district is preparing campuses for COVID infection prevention.
Things are improving significantly in Dallas County, so we cannot say that in-person learning won't happen yet. I need to really evaluate, and you'll see by my team's report how thorough we're going to be and what options we have.
Dr. Inaosa said his message to teachers, he is simply following the guidance and advice from health authorities here in Dallas County. And as it stands today, he expects the option to return to schools for teachers and students to stand come September. In Dallas, Steve Pickett, CBS 11 News.